Well, for many years, I taught a course in what was called air conditioning, which is heating, ventilating, and air conditioning for mechanical engineers. And that experience got me a call from Jeff Lind, who needed a consultant on the air conditioning system at the Swope. And that led eventually to my becoming chair of the building committee. And as I told many people, I would have probably taught an entirely different course to my students if I'd have had the experience I've had at the Swope for the last 4 years, working with an air conditioning system. I guess the thing that I've been proudest of is we've been able to make some significant changes, and part of that's because of change in the financial situation of the Swope, and we've gotten more support, and we now have the money to do some of the things that people were unable to do in the past. Probably the thing that's had the biggest impact is a new control system for the air conditioning and heating system, which has allowed us to stabilize the temperatures and humidities in the museum, which is essential both for the conservation and preservation of our own collection, but also to be able to bring in touring art exhibits from other institutions. We need to be able to share with them data that shows that we're a suitable place to share their art. It also makes me look at art museums a lot different than I used to. When I visited the art museum in Hanoi, Vietnam, they had many nice things, but humidity is a significant problem, and I thought we had a bad one. But it makes you look at things a lot differently when you have to consider those kinds of things. I think it's a great museum. I mean, it's a small museum, but I think its collection, I think what we have been able to do in terms of facilities and in terms of access to the community is pretty remarkable. I don't think you'd find a lot of towns the size of Terre Haute that have a museum of this quality. And I think when you start looking at lots of museums, both large and small, you realize that all of them have challenges that I wouldn't even have thought of before. But I think we're beginning and able to address many of our challenges. And but I'm real proud to be associated with the Swope. I think we made some significant changes. We've been able to bring in some art that we couldn't in the past. They exhibit in the gallery on the first floor of the Renoir exhibit. So I'm real pleased with what we've been able to do. My favorite painting is Threshing Grain by Thomas Hart Benton. I was born in Kansas City, Missouri. I grew up there. And probably Thomas Hart Benton was one of the first artists I really knew anything about because he taught at the Art Institute in Kansas City. His murals were everywhere. I think there's a significant mural over at the Truman Library in Independence, Missouri. And so I heard about that name growing up. And the scene in Shawnee is a town that's now a suburb of Kansas City. And there used to be a mission there, and I visited Shawnee Mission, but in fact, nothing looks like it does in that picture at that particular location. But the sky, the rolling hills, reminds me of home. My vision for the Swope, I think, is to have more people engaged at the Swope, to come in. I think to have be able to share more of our own collection and also bring in more traveling exhibits of art. I'd like to have both in the Terre Haute area and in the wider region, think of the Swope as a place to go and to be a real asset. I'd also like to see the third floor be finished off so that we could have some. It provides one of the most glorious views of downtown Terre Haute, I think. I see a perspective you don't see from many other places. And I think it would make a great place to have events both for the Swope and for the wider community. And I guess finally, I'd like to see because we can hopefully start sharing more of our collection and bringing in exhibits that the Swope is recognized nationally because of its collection and because of what we do locally to support the arts community. And I don't have a strong memory of the Swope until I started coming in here and then looking at pictures of the older Swope. And now I've got grandchildren here, and I think I hope they will benefit from the art programs. I know they already have some of the ones at the parks they've gone to, I think. And just to be able to come in and walk through a gallery and see the kind of art we have here, I think it's an experience not a lot of children get to have. I'm looking forward to bringing them here and letting them run around and see the art and also participate in making some. Well, receiving the Shagley Award is an incredible honor, and it really did surprise me because there are many, if you sit around in a board meeting or you talk with the staff here, there are many individuals who spend significant amounts of time and resources to support the Swope. As a board member, that's an important, I've enjoyed being part of the building committee. I've also enjoyed getting to know the staff that works with the building committee, Jim Dawson, who, let's just say without Jim Dawson, this would be an incredibly different job and experience because he makes the things that I do on a clipboard and the drawings I make and the calculations I make, turns them into life in the museum. And he's the hands-on person that is the first line of defense against things going wrong at the Swope. So it's been a pleasure to work with him, and I think, at least for me and this award, his hard work and the hard work of other staff to make the Swope the place that it is must be rewarded and must be held up for how much easier it makes the job we have to do as a board member to have such excellent staff.